So like this is new kind of tutorial video, also like review, where like I'll analyze this replay and talk about like everything we do. So it's bits in more in-depth explanation of like how PA is played. And from this one we have this player who is like mid plat, and Peter Pan who is like lower high plat. And for the buff, pretty like straightforward map. You go in the middle like to have front confrontation, and you have some expand backwards, and here like it's a strange path, you have to take the side and go here. And I'll start like you take this one because it's closer to your com, and you go take your fab on this route. You go but you can go vehicle on this one, but bot is pretty nice. So like you'll always go land factory air, so like bot or vehicle. If you go bot, you'll go like probably 3 fab to have a good build ratio to take this. And air, most of the time you go scout, but like this is interesting, he assists his air and go fighter first and scout. And that's because most of the time people won't pay attention and will just lose their scout. And doing that, you deny the scouting of your base by the opponent. But also what he messed up bit was like he didn't check anything on this side. So he doesn't know if it's a 4 fab opening. So like he took out the boom bot, so let's got rid of it with his own boom bot. It wasn't very necessary, could have like gone around and positioned it here. We have like the air boosts that makes this engagement pretty bad for Peter Pan, because like it's 3 against 1 fighter. But the opposite is that Peter Pan will start his third factory. He's supposed to start it now, or like he counter. What you can do if your opponent is resting, like he's late because he's only at 2 pigeon while Peter Pan has 3. You're not that behind, so you can take time to boost your own air factory to balance the trade. Because like if you don't, the enemy will pump out an Icarus. You'll have to like, he still did it, have to go for Stinger, AA, but the time your Stinger goes here, if the opponent boosted a Bumblebee, most of the time like you have a chance to lose your fab. His bit is just a bit forward on the timing, like by 2 seconds. He's caught here that like he knows he will go around, so contract with this one, like just keep it here. And on the other side he will take a pretty good fight here, like not good but like he equalize, and that's what matters, because next hummingbird that will go through will be able to kill these 2 Icarus. And also like we see it's pretty late because he's only starting, like he's finishing now his third factory when Peter Pan already has finished his pigeon behind it. Here like you just can kill them with the Icarus, you don't really need to move your docks. And instead of like stopping here, that's what he did. Peter Pan goes for the eco game, where like he will go take these 2 and probably put pressure here, or like go on this side. That's useful, like because if you have enough production here, like if you go for vehicle, you will have a strong choke point here, and you don't really need to like turtle up here like he did. And like I'm not sure if I like the double turret here because he lost 450 metal. Peter Pan didn't do it, so like he will be ahead in eco, and at the same time he was a bit ahead on his factories, so he'll have a bit more units. And that's pretty nice because like you'll know the opponent will go bot air vehicle on this map, and if the opponent go vehicle and you want to have something fast, he'll go strikers. So what you have to do is like you just pump out a few ones like this, and you just put them here because they do not need to move. Like you just need to defend these 4 mechs. So you take this with fab and docks to put pressure, and because you didn't build turrets here, you can just keep your hands around. Also like he didn't do his air boost properly, so like he's late on his factory, and also like Miss Microd is coming, like he will do it again. Will be even more backward on the progression. That's what we see with this index. This one isn't like, I could have just put it here, but now Peterpan is a pretty good position because the opponent stopped here to build double turret proxy. So like he wants to take this. The only issue with this map is that if you have double vehicle in your base, you don't really need anything here to keep it safe, because like you have the 2 in the front and the 2 in the back behind the wall. So it's pretty hard expansion like to wipe out. And during this time you can just out expand on the side. What you have to be careful is like the eagers. You don't want to take too bad of trade. And that was not great, but that's good because he comes on top. And the air boosts didn't do anything because he lost everything. So like now you have air advantage, less air boosts. So like your red, you have your 4 factory, 6 pigeon. Also what we see here is Grand. So like because it will be a very static play with ants and vehicle, having radar here, like it's pretty defended behind the rock, and Grants will make you able to take better trades. And one thing I'm not sure is like, it's pretty late on second expand. Like it's very low fab count. He went only for 1 expansion to the middle. And if I was him, like he played very well, better than I would make. But I would have like taken them 2 minutes earlier, just 1 fab here and here. Because if we go back, like no one ever went on this side. And you can just get mad value if the opponent doesn't take care of like a pre-expand on the side. And the fact that Peter Pan got this way makes him able, if he take this choke point, to just contract the opponent going out this way, and so he has like 6-3 mech spot. Also like just too much idling, honestly. If it's just to boost a lot, you don't really need it, because the opponent would just go more AA at this point, and that's what we see. T2 very quick, because like on normal map, like that's pretty small map, but on normal map, T2 timing is between like start between 5:30 and 6:30, and you want to finish it like, if it's a quick medium T2, around 7:40, and if you're a bit slow, maybe 8, like 9 is late, but before 6 it's a pretty quick T2. On this side, turret's pretty good, so like he can just take the choke point on the 2 side. After all, he can build a radar and a putter here, and will like just let me see. Do you have range on the... Yeah, you have range to deny the 2 mechs and the turrets. Like, you don't really need to deny the turret, but the 2 mechs are pretty good. That's what Peterman doing, 3 expand on the side. Sending a few, like, grants I'm not fan of, because, like, I would put them here. And now the opponent is scouting for FAB. That's also a play you can make, because you have very scarce expansion. You can go airfab instead of like bot fab. What we have now is he's catching back a bit. Second air factory, like that's not that useful on this map, because you can just like, it's very defensive map. You don't need to move a lot, so air isn't as important, I would say. And now what we see the most is like just Future Point as his T2 at, let me check, it's a 20-second start. He finishes his T2 at around like 5:30, so like 5:30 is very, very quick, and the opponent didn't even scout it. So what he did is like, he had a pretty good early game. He traded this early game for a very quick T2 while losing the early game he made, but like that's not an issue, because he has enough eco to run his T2. He has free expansion backward if he wants. He has a bit of scouting here, and he relies on like, the opponent made 1 proxy, 2 proxy, going for 3rd proxy, and the 6:30 minutes T2 push will just like destroy all of this and take back the map control, and that's what he's aiming for. Now a bit of com idling because like he just finished, so you need to assist his T2. So like something you do is when you have your T2, instead of like just building multiple T2, you just assist a lot your first T2 and your second. So like com plus 3 fab is pretty good. If you don't have your com, you can go even like to 6-7 fab on one T2. So like you have two things, is that assisting a T2 is cheaper because like fab don't cost a lot, and you boost your production. But the one thing you have is that the roll-off time of your unit is always the same. So on the bot factory it's 3 seconds, I would say. So like you cannot compress this time of walkout, but you just can make the production quicker. So at a certain point, around like 10 fab, it isn't really worth it anymore to assist more your T2, and you can build another T2. But at the start you want a lot of strong units, so like you want to boost a lot your T2. And it's useful because if you build your T2 with like, that was only 3 fab and com, but if you have like 6 fab and com, you keep 4 fab and the com on the T2 assisting, and you take out your 2 other fab to like re-expand or expand in the back. And also like something it is metal storage. I'm not sure why, maybe because I think that's in his strat, because he went for very aggressive expansion. He stored his metal to rush his T2 instead, because most of the time you don't really want to store the metal, you want to use everything. But because he will know he will trade a very good early game into like a kind of defensive aggressive T2 push, you need a bit of metal storage. So now what's interesting is that like it will just take out like that same RVV value more or less, and will just destroy everything because of the one slammer in it, because of also very good range. But it lacks vision, so having T1 with it gives him more vision. Also like radar here is just great. Like if we just take a second, you have vision on him going out of his base, proxy expansion, second proxy expansion. You can see if he's going this way, you can see the air coming through, and you can see a bit of units leaving this way, so a second radar here, or even here if you can manage to do it, gives you like full vision of the map. Also the thing is that because you trade an early game into very quick T2, this guy is still doing an early game, like he still has, like he's still setting up his proxies, and only starting his T2 at this time, because of his lack of scout, like he didn't solve the T2. So now he will push his base with a nice T1 army, but he will die because he will just face like 42 units. And you don't want to lose the sniper because it gives you vision. But it will just... You're close enough now that you can target this one. Also like first push, you maybe don't want to go die in his base, because this is very important, like you need to keep this unit alive to do damage. So because you traded your side for quick T2, you need to take back his side with your T2. So instead of pushing blindly in his base, because like you don't know if he has like maybe a defensive pelter, that's unlikely, but who knows, or maybe like more T1 vehicle station here and his com, you have enough to kill a com, but you will lose everything, and he will still have like unit defending his com. So what you want to do is take back everything on this side. And now you're in pretty good spot, because like you were a bit lacking in eco, but you re-expand. You're killing everything he has on his side. That's not like heavily defended like here. And at this point, the only thing you have to do is go kill everything. Like you need to send something, maybe this army, like it's a bit too much, but a few slammer and like T1 units will clear everything. And you won't just 2 hours him. You maybe, like, you need to scout to see his T2 timing. If he doesn't have T2 and like you still have 30-second delay, you can probably try to take a good trade while like being at max range of your slammer, so you don't take any damage, because slammer have a bit more range we see than ants, so you can trade a bit more effectively. You want for sure to deny this side, and you want to close him in his base. And at this point, even if he's back at your level with his T2, he will not be able to assist as much his T2 as you, and you can just like pump out maximum unit of T2, and go into like you did a slammer start because you were facing T1, and against T1 slammer are very effective. But after that you want to transition into more gillies to just keeping in his enclave and just taking good trade, because you are in a very good spot, but you don't want to throw your game on this. Also, like, the com cannot build the radar by himself, so you need to take a fab with him if you want your com to build the radar. And with that, he has like practically full vision of the map at this point. What I like is like the 2 warfare expansion here, but it was met off with this one. So like you need to deny, you cannot just let him keep that. Here, pretty bad, like if we just come back a few sec, pretty bad trade. You have vision right until here, so like you don't really want to take fight because you don't have a lot of, like, you pretty much have max range on slammer, but not sure. So like, what given? Okay, yeah, just this end of the radar. So what you want to do is not take trade like this, and also you want your slammer in the back, so they do not take damage, because T2, like T2 bot at least, has a lot of DPS but low health number, so you always want your T1 to take the damage instead, and have your T2 as a big DPS on the back. So like spaghetting on this narrow path, at this point, if you see that, the first thing you want is not to push, but to come back the quickest possible. And because like with this, it will still like clear most of it, but first like you don't want to clear the target factories because you just lose DPS, and also you just got your slammer killed. So like you lost 6 slammer in this. Yeah, you killed like a lot of T1, but you lost your slammer, and that's pretty ineffective. And if we go on, like, this position is a free win. Like, you cannot lose this position, and that's what he made, because like you have T2, but you're still on the free base factory, and you want more T1 in front of your T2, so you build 2 more vehicle factory to just like assure your victory. And from this point, you are back in air because he made 2 air factory, but you don't really need more. You just need to be careful that he doesn't pump out a lot of bumblebee and have AA in your army, and also protect your expansion because you want to have even more eco. So you can go for 2 things. You can go for a quick victory, mainly with slammers, and just like push the little T1 he has and kill his com, and that's possible with this. Like 5 slammer and 1 snipe gillies for the vision is enough. But as soon as you lose your gilly, you lose all your vision, so like your slammer won't have enough vision to shoot. So I think like you need to scout. First you need the few wingbirds you have to scout his base, see that he doesn't have anything. Like he's literally on he has 31 army, but everything is in air. I will also come back on this, that's a pretty big misplay. But if you're Peter Pan at this now, you can just push and kill his com. You don't want, like, it doesn't do it because he's not sure if he'll take a bad trade and doesn't have quite enough T1 to protect the T2. So he's just waiting for more T2 to come. But that was a missed opportunity. But like, it doesn't really care, because if you don't want to take the win straight ahead, you just want to be in good position for the late game. So you go T2 fab. And T2 fab is just an insane number of eco. After like 5 minutes, you just multiply your eco by 2. Also more pigeon, because like the fact that he rushed his T2 and went into heavy assist meant that his commander wasn't building any pigeon during this time, so he's lacking a bit of energy. But like just for 3 fab plus the com is pretty quick to build more pigeon. So like now you're good. You need to scout around his base to see like if he has taken this or this and deny everything. You don't want him to like make a weird proxy on the side and drop into your base or do something weird like this. So you have this side. Also, like, misplay I wanted to talk about is that you have 22 members, the enemy has 5. So what you want is to have like, if he has 5, maybe have like 10 or 12. And after that you only build a bumblebee. So like, you're wasting 2600 metal in just straight hummingbird that doesn't shoot ground, and the enemy doesn't have much air, so like he doesn't care. For now you have nearly 5000 useless metal. When the enemy is 5000, it's like this. You traded out 7 slammer for just having air that just sits around and doesn't do anything. So what you can do is just stop making air at this point, or use it to like gather intel, because at this point like you have air but you doesn't gather much intel about what he has in his base. You want to post it near his army to like have full vision, or you want to make a lot of bumblebee, and that's what he's making, but it's already too late at this point. What on Peter Pan's side is just a lot of re-expand, because when the enemy is under this threat, he will not send raids, unless it's a very good player, but like this guy isn't. And now you can just push. And the reason the game keeps so long is probably because of misplay. Like when you see this, you see the max range on the com, his Uber Cannon, like the D-gun. If you click him here, with the AoE you will like take out this area. So what you want to do is sit at max range with your slammer. Like this one is good, but this one isn't, it's a bit too close. And also you don't want to have all your slammer in this area, because if you're unlucky, it will take out like probably 6 slammer, maybe 5, depends. So you want more than just spreading your army, you also want just to select your T2. Like your T1 you don't care, like you can just let him idle here, but you select your slammers, set press control to have max range, and just press an arc here to have max range, and also for the unit not to be next to each other. Also like gillies, you don't want them to push. You have like a lot of range, you can just stay. And now it's still winnable, but Peter Pan doesn't really want to push. And I think that's as soon as you lose your gilly, you're pretty rough spot. And now like it's totally winnable. He could have just pushed right here, but for some reason, like the thing he's scared about is losing this army, the enemy comes being like at 10% health, and being pushed back with like a little T2 army that will go here and take out this. So what you do when you don't want to rush anything, you just build T3 and like one of this is 18 metal, the basic structure is 7, so it's already 2.5 times better, and it's being paid back in 100 seconds. So like you need to wait like nearly 2 minutes, because you count also the cost of the fab to pay out individually. So when you wait about like 5 minutes, you'll be positive in your T3 co. And also a big thing is T2 pigeon that are more efficient than T1. Now he's doing the right thing. He doesn't want this to be, because like it's already 4 mechs when the enemy only has 4 in this base, +1 +1 plus the 4. So you want to clear this, and probably also this going on the side. And now I think the thing we want to do is keep this alive. You don't want to push, because like you have building, it will take out damage. Build a radar, build like 1 or 2 turrets, and the next T2 push he'll do will be around the other side, because this is an enclave. Like the enemy has units here, he has a lot of building sucking up damage, and he has his com. His com is pretty low, so like he will not try to use it a lot because he's scared. But what you can do is deny everything else. So this can be denied with T2, this can be denied with T2, this can be denied with T2. But the only thing you need to take care of is to have vision of his base to be sure he's not like sending a push around here. So you keep this around, put like a few walls, and go the way. And now it's pretty straightforward game, like you just don't do anything crazy. Summer, you want it like back, because you want the Inferno to suck up the damage. So like that's a pretty good setup. 3 Inferno, bit of T1 like to do a bit more DPS. Also like single target DPS. Like not much with the Slammer because of his high fire rate, but with over T2 unit, you lack the power to clean like lots of clumped up T1. So you always want to have a few ducks and a few ants to like kill a single spark here, or like to kill a few ants on this side. And now with that you can just like clear out this proxy. Also pretty good is that the opponent got his error cleared because I didn't watch this. Why did he lose everything? Also, yeah, that's why. Just very bad mismanagement. Because he was busy microing his com, he just lost like 2000 metal worth of air. And more like just losing metal, you also lose your air positioning. And so like you'll make Bumblebee, but they will be very vulnerable to T2 afterward, to air afterward. What we got? Nothing crazy. This turret isn't like doing much. It's like these ones are made for to counter drifter proxying, because if you build the vehicle factory here, the only thing you want to do is go across and deny base with drifter. But the only thing he didn't do is scouting. So like if he had scouted effectively, he knew that there weren't any drifters, so he didn't needed to waste metal in this. Like that's not really important. What's more to say? This is just because like he was behind in air, like not now, but like 1 minute ago. So just to protect a bit the T2 metal and also the pigeon. And now at this point, you want to be careful of like comeback potential. So like locusts can be effective for this. So either way, you have radar. But the other thing you can do is put threats on the back, because if the enemy comes here and clear this, it's a bit of damage. But the biggest issue comes because you have one big power generator and it's not spread around. So like this is easy to snipe. And this can be also easy to snipe if the enemy just come in a straight way with like 5 or 6 locusts. And if he does that, you come back to the Stone Age power-wise, and you need to stop everything, probably power off a few factories, and just build pigeon with your fab. So you're like back at least 30 to 1 minute, 30 seconds to 1 minute in the game. And now, because like you just stopped pushing, you want more gillies to one, take better trade at a distance and also control blocks. And the other thing you don't want to do is building blocks when you're behind. Like blocks are have more like a fire rate than gillies, so they could be better against gillies. But honestly, fire blocks doesn't do enough to really be effective against gillies, because if you target your gilly, you go like 2 shots blocks. Maybe not now with the patch, but like you can individually target blocks faster than the blocks will shoot down your gillies. Other thing is just having a bit of AA. Like now you have an advantage, but just to be sure you don't get bombed and lose everything, it's pretty effective. And now really you don't really want to push. Like this was the scary thing. If you lose everything here, you become vulnerable to this. But because you have so much lead, you already have your own production backing this. And also, other thing you want to do is either you just make a crazy amount of T2 bots with a lot of gillies, or you want to transition into T2 vehicle, because T2 vehicle in a straight engagement is pretty good, and also they have artillery. And after that, you just see Zico climbing up because he has T2 eco when the opponent doesn't. And with like just 4 T2 mechs, you just double your eco. You have double eco than your opponent. What else to say? He's like just stuck. For the last 6 minutes, he didn't do anything on the map except like this right now. He has not much pigeon because he never took time to build a T2 fab, because he doesn't really have the lead to... Like if I select T2 from this guy, he has 5,000 metal worth of T2, a fab is 2800. So like you already have a third of that in T2 fab if you want to build one. And that was the comeback potential I was talking about, is Locust. The thing you want to know about using Locust is that like now they're a bit better with the new patch, but they're very squishy. Like they can die very rapidly, but they have insane DPS against building. So what you want to do is take your air, go around like this way to not be seen by the opponent. Like, it's difficult because the opponent has very good radar coverage, but that's why most of the time you want to go in the back, and that's probably also why Pitchupen... Like, this is good because if you go around with Locust and air, this will probably scout your air. But you want to do something like you cannot come back in this game only with this. You need something more. So like these things are the thing more we want to keep. And also that's why you need air, because like you don't want to run into some ducks and lose everything. First thing is do not do that, because like you don't have any element of surprise now. You just lost the thing that was keeping you alive. Like, you just take a bit of value, but not much, because during this time you're losing everything. That's also why you want T1, because like, if everything is a T2 unit, you don't want to lose anything. But if you have 2/3 of your army being T1 unit, you can lose 2/3 of your army and still be in pretty good shape, because you have your DPS unit being alive. That's why when he built this T2, he just didn't stay on these 3 factories, because he also needed one to build more factory expand and one for map control. So like having docks here, having a vehicle here. So he built 2 more vehicle factory just to have a good army composition. And now that's the same thing. You build a second T2, you build also 2 more, like 2 more is just a number like this, but 1, 2 or 3 T1 factory more, just to have enough T1 to keep your T2 alive. With that, you follow it up with more pigeon, because like you made a lot of metal, but you didn't increase dramatically your energy production. This is a pretty good take. Like, Pitchupen knew about this since here, so like since 20 seconds ago, he had 20 seconds ago to just take these units and put them here to protect the T2 metal. But like, that's a detail, that's not really that important, honestly. During this time, like, you see how the Inferno are just sucking up damage against a way better army composition with way more T2. It just didn't last that much. Another thing you want to do, if you're this guy, you don't have map control, so you need metal without having map control, and that's when you need a reclaim. Like, all of this is mad value of metal. You can just reclaim everything and boost. The only thing you want to have is a power lead, and that's what he has. Like, he has a lot of power, not really stored, but in backup. So you build maybe a bit more pigeon, or like even 5 bot reclaimers, and you just start reclaiming, because now you have enough map control to allow you to reclaim this part. And if you look at the wreckage on the map, you have a bit here, a bit here, but most of it is here because you were pushed the entire game, and you have a lot of T2 unit in this. So you have at least like 10,000 metal here to take, and that's also what he didn't do, is have enough reclaim. More here, like, you just see they didn't do anything. They just killed the T2 mechs, bunch of T1 mechs here, but not much. And now Pitchman has T2. The T2 vehicle, I mean. And now you can take shellers. And if you compare a Blocks range or Gilly range with the sheller, you see that the sheller has way more range. So what you can do is just, you like a bit of radar, like a radar here could be good. Or here, you need a radar here with like 2 or 3 shellers, and you'll just keep your opponent at bay. You don't want to push and lose everything, because he has a few slammers. You just sit around and you're annoying, and you don't take the trade. Like, you don't want to fight, you just want to take good metal trade. That's also why he's doing this. Like, you don't need radar at here on the front line if you have a T2 radar that's covering like 3/4 of the map. And also, like, the most important thing is because it's not polar spawn. Like, you see, if the 2 poles are here and here, the base are a bit closer to each other. So a T2, like, also you could build your T2 radar here, but you want to have full vision of the opponent base. So you build it more in the front of your base, and you'll have full vision forever of your opponent. And he cannot do anything against that. or like not at least with what he has. T2 fab, but like a timing for T2 fab is either you build it at 8 minutes when you have your T2, either you build it after like 10 T2 units, but you don't wait 15 minutes to build your T2 fab. Like that's, if you have your T2 fab at 15 minutes, you already know you have lost the game, honestly. Except if you have like a very big map where you don't need T2 metal to be alive, but now you're like going against double your FICO, like just wait 30 seconds to have tomorrow T2 and T2 makes another build a case. And now what he's doing is a bit of re-expanding, that's good, but like you just need more at this point. Also like don't build a T2 max here. If you know the opponent already went here in the past, build it in your base. What you have is a bit of threat protection against Locust Run. But honestly, you like that's good to do and that's not really expensive, but the opponent is already winning, it doesn't need to do this to win. And at this point you can just tap out because the only thing you can do to win is snipe his comm. To snipe his comm you need one, probably air superiority because he has radar and he will not get surprised by anything. So you need air superiority and vanguards to kill his comm. You don't have T2 vehicle, so you cannot build a strong enough unit to kill his comm. And you don't have air superiority, so you'll not be able to get near his comm at all. So at this point I would just tap out if I was him, because like you just can't do anything. The only reason you still have this is because the opponent didn't take care of finishing it. And at this point Peter Pan is pretty nonchalant, like he's not assisting his T2 because he doesn't need to, like he already has 12,000, he has 4 times the army value of his opponent. He has more of everything, he has double the eco, he has more energy, and that's when you tap out, because like you know you don't have any comeback possible. So like that was a pretty interesting game because we don't often see that kind of T2 rush. There was a very early T2, and it also hit even harder because the opponent didn't scout anything. That was a pretty big mistake. Like the reason you scout is because if the opponent is going for a camp push, if you don't scout you will die. Like maybe if you're Grizzly or Nick and you're very good at the game, you can just not scout and win. But for 90% of the people like you and me, you need to scout to see what he's doing, because if he goes into bot air vehicle triple bot into com push with grants, it doesn't need to kill your com to win, it just needs to keep you on your like 5 mechs in your home. And that's why also scouting is like, intel gathering in this game is pretty easy. You just need a 60 metal unit. And you don't even need air control, because air control is good for like staying around this base, but what you need to do is like every 2 minutes you control click one firefly and you just go around, scout his base. You don't care if you lose your firefly because it doesn't cost anything, like it's very very cheap unit, and you just gather free intel for this. That's different of game like StarCraft, where like intel gathering is more important because it's more difficult. This game you can just have free intel wherever you want, and the important thing is not to get overwhelmed and forget to take intel. So like that's just a pretty good build all around and a pretty nice game. Also like I said, like Peter Pan was way better, but like this guy is also very good. Peter Pan just like very very good at PA, and that's it. Like also thing you have to remember is what you want to do. If you proxy here, you want to take back this. If you want to take this, you know that you need something behind it to make the aggressive play worth it. And if the opponent goes double proxy and you don't, the opponent needs to take this. Like he cannot let you have this radar in his space for much longer, because that's just too much of intel gathering at this point. And that's it, I would say.